And welcome back. Happy Halloween, everybody. Welcome to Hops Geek News, a podcast that talks about comic books, movies, TV shows, and we feature a beer of the week. We have a tasty treat for you today, as we are going to get a little bit weird with this episode. We're going to dive into cryptids and monsters, being that today on the release of this episode, it is Halloween Eve. Tomorrow is Halloween. We are wrapping up Halloween season 2023. May it rest in peace. I'm not ready for it to be gone yet. I am just not ready. But unfortunately, time moves faster and it waits on no man. So that's what we got going for you today. I am Matt. With me, as always, is Lauren. We have a great episode for you. So if you want to go ahead and subscribe, please do so. Help the podcast grow. You can find us, Hops Geek News, on any podcasting platform, any social media platform by the same names. You can also find us each Tuesday as we are on Turn a Page for Nerd Initiative, which we happen to also write comic book reviews for each and every week. Wednesdays, your favorite comic books, we are reviewing them each and every week. So be sure to go ahead and head over there. Check it out. Thanks for hanging out with us. And of course, if you want to support the show even further, patreon.com/HopsGeekNews. We are actually in the process of working something out in the Discord where we might do a monthly watch along with our Discord friends. So go ahead, hang out with us in Discord. We might do some monthly watch alongs. We'll probably let the patrons kind of pick the movies to start and go from there. So without further ado, my beer of the week is from Back Bay Brewhouse out of Virginia Beach. It's called the Witch of Pungo. It is a pumpkin ale brewed with pumpkin and pumpkin spice flavor, coming in at 7%. Now, the Witch of Pungo, the inspiration of our pumpkin ale, comes from the story of Grace Sherwood, better known as the Witch of Pungo, the last person convicted of witchcraft in Virginia. The Witch of Pungo contains a smooth maltiness with rich pumpkin pie flavor to bring you this brew that is the essence of autumn. Now, to give you like a little backstory, because I'm actually going to dive into the backstory of who Grace Sherwood is here when we get to our cryptids and monsters. I'm going to dive into a little bit of the witchcraft era. However, a spot in the Lynnhaven River off of what is today known as the Witch Duck Point was chosen, and Grace Sherwood was bound and thrown from a boat. She managed to untie herself and rise to the surface, proving to those present that she was a witch. As punishment for her crime, Grace Sherwood spent 7 years in jail. She is actually the only known person convicted of witchcraft in the state of Virginia, where I now reside. So I figured this would be a fun beer to kind of go at it tonight as we are wrapping up spooky season. It's got really delicious flavor, man. It's a really good pumpkin ale, honestly. If you're down in the Virginia Beach area, it's got a great color to it. Great, lots of pumpkin flavors, man. Just but not too much at the same time. So that's what I got. Lauren, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking at Pontoon Brewing Nightmare Fuel. So anybody who likes pontoon beer, they're apparently closing for good, so they're not going to be around much
Hold
longer.
on, hold on.
Um,
They might, if they can find an investor. There's hope yet.
you know what? I had hope for Anchor, and that brewery was over 100 years old. So
Yeah.
we'll see. This one is from last year. I believe I bought it last year. Never drank it. It is a sour. It's a Berliner style Weiss with cherry, raspberry, blackcurrant, and lactose. Honestly, I'm not getting any lactose. I don't know if that's because I let it age too long. It is super puckery. And I think when I'm done with this, I have an old school German Oktoberfest on deck to just wash it down.
We've
So
had
that's
that
probably what I'll,
before a long time ago, and yeah, it's very sour. Like,
yeah,
man, because
I
it's got the like we used it for a Stranger Things episode, actually.
probably, it looks kind of like Vecna. Yeah, it's super cool art. Obviously, I'll definitely put it on the socials. It's a little too puckery for me though. I don't dislike it. I'm all right with it, but I do actually have it in a big ass wine glass. So if
Look
you're
at
watching
that
on
blood.
YouTube, yes, I put paint all over it to make it look like blood, and I did this years ago to watch Dexter. So this used to be my red wine drinking wine glass when
Oh
I
my
watched
God.
Dexter. So I used to drink a lot of red wine.
Look, I
So
still
it's like a
love red
freaking
wine.
goblet. It's so big. Oh, I do love a good glass of dry red here and there, but now there's just so many other options. A lot of time I go to like I went to a wedding at a vineyard and I'm like, I'm gonna get a good glass of wine. And I get up there and I'm like, can I have a beer, please?
Well, honestly, though, it is kind of like I'm not a wine connoisseur, so there's so many different, like a Cabernet Sauvignon or a Malbec or blah blah. Although I have found that the Malbecs are one that I like the most. However, there are a lot, and I'm just not like into wine like a sommelier would be, and know
Yeah.
like this has this and this. Like I am beer. However, I do love a really good red wine, and we had some Halloween 19 crimes, so we got like a bottle. They have
Is
those
that Snoop
labels.
Dogg's wine or something?
Yeah. So like I guess he's partnered with them, but they did a Halloween release of bottles of wine, and the one has a vampire on it, one has Frankenstein, and then I also have
Ah,
like
that's fun.
a witches kind of one too. So I do like those. They're themed. And then of course during the Christmas season, you're going to see me drinking Hallmark's red wine for Christmas. So you know how it goes. It's
Do
about that
you
time.
follow Maynard Brewer, right? We both follow
Yeah,
Maynard
yeah. He
Brewer.
follows us on Twitter. Yep.
He posted something on Twitter today that had me so confused and giggling, and I want to find it real quick because he I'm just going to giggle while I'm thinking about it. Here it is. Anybody not following him, I recommend following him, especially if you're into beer on the Twitter. I'm not calling it X, it's Twitter. Dozens of women from New York City are converging on Vermont starting this week, and where they will fall back in love with their ex-boyfriend and purchase the B&B they never knew would until the townsfolk convince them it's who they really are. A B&B owner that loves to make scones for guests.
Yes, it
At first I
is.
was like, is this a terrible reality show coming next week? And then I was like, oh, it's a
Oh
Hallmark
man,
Christmas
a
movie.
great Hallmark Christmas movie that would actually be really fun to make is a bachelor style movie like that where they all go back to a small town Christmassy Vermont where they're trying to like,
Say
you
no
know,
more. Go
get
get it
picked
made.
and now like she falls. Dude, how has that not been made? That's a really good idea for a Hallmark Christmas movie. Who do I talk to about this?
I
Because
have a friend
think
who's
about
written
it.
a couple of Hallmark Christmas movies.
Link
Actually,
it. Like I've
Josh and
got a
I were
great
talking
idea.
about this recently. So my friend who wrote, who's written a couple movies that had like legit people in them, his wife has written a couple Hallmark movies. And Josh, my husband, was actually like, we should actually watch Teresa's movies this Christmas. So I'm going to find out which movies
Let me
she
know which
wrote,
they
and we
are, and I
are going to
will.
watch those ones.
And if Teresa wants to come hang out, I have a really great pitch. Really great. I don't understand how nobody has done it yet. Where it's like they go to the small town Vermont or Western Mass. They are
Maybe it's on
there
the
for like
Lifetime channel.
a true love type bachelor kind of show. And then, of course, our main character meets her ex boyfriend and decides she wants to quit the show or gets into a love entanglement with the lovely, or maybe it's her ex boyfriend who turns out to be the surprise bachelor for the show, and they end up
Josh came
falling in
home
love.
for the holidays and rekindled his relationship with me.
I'm telling you. I'm just saying, folks.
It was New Year's
Just
Eve,
saying.
2008.
Ah, what a great year. I graduated high school that year. The Dark Knight came out that year. Lots of great things
My
happened that
daughter
year.
turned 5 that year.
It was great. Anyways, folks, some segments we got for you reading and watching, of course, as always. Then we dive into the news and then, of course, our main topic. So, what we have been reading or watching,
Not
well,
Hallmark movies.
not Hallmark movies yet. Yet.
Oh my God,
However,
I did just commit to it, didn't I?
you did. You son of a bitch. I did it. I feel like we really broke ground this podcast.
Oh my
It
gosh,
took 3 years of
seriously.
therapy sessions, but I think we're really finally making headway.
Therapy works, kids.
It does. Well, we've both read The Schlub, issue number 3 from Image Comics, and our friends Kenny Porter, Tyrell Cannon, and man, we gotta get the trifecta on the show, of course, Ryan Stegman. But if you are not reading this comic book, essentially a dentist
What are
named
you
Roger,
doing?
Roger, he is a down on his luck divorced dentist. The world hates him, the world's out to get him. He inadvertently swaps places with a superhero, and of course, hijinks ensue. And speaking of, I just saw your Wolverine comic. Wolverine versus Predator issue 2 came out today, and I didn't go and pick it up. What the fuck am I doing with my life?
I wasn't there
God
either.
damn
My
it.
comic book shop is doing something special for Halloween this Saturday with discounts, so I'm gonna get it Saturday. But this has a
Okay.
Wendigo in it, so spoilers for
Well,
a little bit.
yes, we did the Schlub. We did a joint review for Nerd Initiative. We both really enjoyed it. And this is a comic book that's a lot of fun, man. It kind of, issue 3, I felt, got a little bit,
Personal.
yeah, it
That's what
definitely
I should have
did.
done the title. This time it's personal.
It did get a little personal, especially with his ex-wife Sarah, and he tried to impress her, and there's a sequence in there. So, folks, trust us when we say, go get your hands on that. I read Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Stranger Things. The series has wrapped up. For all 4 issues are out now, and issue 4 ended in a really cool way. I mean, we got a really cool um, sequence where Elle dons, the Ninja Turtle mask. They all have like this really cool one-shot scene. They go and kick some serious ass, and there's some aliens involved. Great mini series there if you like Stranger Things and Ninja Turtles. And then I sat down on Turn a Page last night with Alan Dunford and of course Ken and Tom, and we talked Grandma Chainsaw, which the Kickstarter is only out for a few more days now. It might be wrapping up at this point, and it's basically about a grandma named Hazel who is demonic. She's a grandma. She's got a chainsaw. She kills people. It takes place over one night. There's going to be 4 issues in this series total. They have issue 3 about to come out now. That's the one that's on Kickstarter. and it's funny as shit. Like, this is no joke. Go back and watch that episode we did, and Alan can tell it better than I can, but it's a love letter homage to all the old school horror movies. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's bloody, it's disgusting, it's clever, it's witty. I can't say enough high praises about that. So please, by all means, check that out. I watched and finished Creep Show season 4 on Shudder. It's an anthology series that has just different, really cool, clever things that happen into it. It's horror-esque, and like it's just really smart how they do it, because there's just a twist that always happens in every single episode, and you don't really see it coming sometimes. So that was clever. I watched Hubie Halloween, which a lot of people hate, man, but
Oh, it's just goofy.
it's stupid. It's a stupid movie, but it's just, I like it. It's
It's fun.
honestly, it's
Yeah.
a fun movie. Yeah, it's hilarious. It's not
I love the
serious.
twist with Steve Buscemi. I'll leave it at that
Yes.
for anyone who hasn't seen
Yes.
it.
If you haven't watched it, it's on Netflix. Please, seriously, go watch it. And then, of course, we both read Dracula, which is out now, from writer James Tynion IV and artist Martin Simmons. Really, what'd you think of this comic?
I liked it. It was fun. It was really pretty. The artwork was absolutely beautiful.
It's
Every page was like
ghastly.
a watercolor. But yeah, no, it was fun. It's about, Renfield, who I'm not familiar with that. I know the movie came out. I know it's somebody who services Dracula. That sounded dirtier than I meant
Yeah,
it
he
for it too.
does.
Um,
His
but it
master.
it was kind of interesting how in this story, they're like, okay, this guy's clearly got some sort of blood disease. We can cure him. And I love that when they try, like we saw it in The Exorcist, when they try to use actual science to cure these quote unquote monsters or the supernatural stuff. Because honestly, that's what so much of it is. It was like in The Exorcist, well, we don't do exorcisms anymore because we know about mental health. We know about certain diseases. We know about brain tumors. We know about, different things that can happen that are none of this is supernatural. I
I don't
hate to
know
say
why. I
that.
was just thinking, like, we know about mental health, and all I picture is another movie where it's like a demon possesses a girl and ends up in therapy about his time in hell. And it really works through some of his inner
That
struggles,
would
and
be
they
a
end
good
up like learning
story.
to live together or something like that. I don't know why. Like, again, like, I
Huh.
got all these ideas, man. I really have all these ideas that I feel like could go places. I just need to stop being lazy.
That's actually a
But
pretty good story. And then the demon starts to be like, well, in my human life, this is what It's like
that's what I'm
Crowley.
saying. It could be like a really
Like,
funny like one shot where this, yeah, like Crowley. It's a demon that possesses a girl. They take this girl, or it could be a guy, and they take this whoever's possessed to therapy and meet while in the meantime, while in the beginning, like maybe the demon's killing a lot or something like that behind the scenes. And over time, through therapy, it starts to really work through its issues of this time in hell and
I just need to be loved.
learns how to do whatever. But yeah, no, Dracula was great. I thought it was really creepy how Renfield, his face never really showed his face. It was really like very,
Yeah,
very
he
horrific kind of
looked
looking.
he looked like Johnny Depp in the vampire movie. It's a combination of the vampire movie and Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah,
Into
yeah,
the
yeah.
Shadows. So I felt like he looked like Johnny Depp.
It was, it was a good comic book. This is again like one of the hottest writers that are out there today is James Tynion, who does Something Is Killing the Children. So if you're not reading anything that he does, it's a serious mistake, because it's very, very, very good. It's from Skybound. And then that's all I've done aside from Coiffeur Extraordinaire, Waiting for Legros, who we did a quick episode with Lance Lucero from Warehouse 9 Productions last week. And it's a 9-minute short film that kind of ties into his comic book Bob Non-Union Sidekick. I don't know why that's always a tongue twister for me, but what'd you think about this short film?
So Lance described it perfectly that people watch it and they don't know what to expect. They don't know what they're getting into. But it was very interesting. It was definitely something I've never seen done before. And again, like Matt said, Bob Non-Union Psychic, we read that months ago and had Lance on. Absolutely love that. It's, basically this kid who is a barber, but he has these abilities of fighting supernatural monsters and he can see things that other people, can't really fight necessarily. And he's able to use these magical scissors. So, and that takes place in like present day. Highly recommend it. If you go to Warehouse 9 Productions, you can actually buy that comic book, read that comic book, and then you get a link to this movie that, like Matt said, is about 9 minutes long. And it looks nothing like the comic. It takes place in what, like the
Oh
1700s?
yeah, it's like it's super just it's a period piece, right? And
Yeah.
he shows up, he's drinking in the carriage on
Oh,
the
yeah.
way
The
there,
guy's
which is fun. He's
trashed.
wasted, and then it's just funny because he's like, "Get me coffee." And
And
then
he's
it's
like
like,
yelling at the guy. He's
what
like,
took you
oh,
so
I hate
long?
you. And then he calls his test the guy, I hate you. Are we there
He's
yet? It was like a drunk kid in the backseat.
he really was. And then he was like, what took you so long? This coffee's hot. And he keeps drinking it. And then the monster's like this wig that's possessed and everything. Like it looks like a crab mixed with a wig. It was kind of like a clever design. And again, he's kind of a barber, so he has his golden scissors.
Because they're
And
magical golden scissors.
yeah, so he cuts the hair essentially. And it was he does it describe it perfectly. You get done, you're like, what did I just watch? But again, it's like it's silly, it's goofy, it's not like a serious thing. It's just lighthearted. It is funny. The character, again, he's like this drunken barber, and
Mm-hmm. And
he's
it's just
awesome.
building the comic book, more of the universe. But
Yeah,
yeah, they were very different but connected at the same time. I feel like very interesting is a great way to just describe it. Because also he films or records on film, not digital. So then he does a lot of like
yeah,
old
it's
school
all
kind
one
of film
reels. Yep.
tricks. Yeah. And he said there was miniatures. And you can kind of see, obviously once he came on, I was like, okay, that's got to be a miniature set. But that always like blows my mind. Like I think even like episode 1 of Star Wars, they used miniatures for
Oh
like
yeah,
one of the like
they
it's
all the
so
models. Yeah, like they built
yeah.
like a big model and stuff. But it's you're
Or
right.
Nightmare Before Christmas is just a giant. I mean, not a giant set, a little set, but yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
always fun seeing the things that come from people's brains too, and just kind of like their vision for stuff. And chatting with Lance, he's always been a great friend of the show, and this is something that I hope people watch and kind of gains traction because it is an interesting idea. It is funny. It's got some story to it, and of course, it ties into a really cool comic book as well, which you get this movie for free if you buy the comic. So I think
Yeah,
people should do that.
and
But
there you go.
that's all I've been watching, reading. What else have you been diving into?
Outside of the schlub, number 3 for Nerd Initiative this week, I also reviewed Black Hammer number 3. So it's actually Black Hammer: The End, and so I talked about it before because I reviewed the first issue and or the first 2 issues. And this was the first one because it's a spin-off of the Black Hammer. And so the Black Hammer has done time with Justice League. Like they have like a good decent following at this point, even though they are dark horse. But this was the first one where I really felt like I was falling into the universe, not having the backstory. Because, I think it's like MCU. You could enjoy this movie on its own, but it's much better in the grand scheme of things. But I really started to come into it. I really started to really like the characters a bit more and what they're doing a bit more. And it's kind of one of those, once you're a hunter, you're always a hunter. Once you're in the mob, you're always in the mob. Once you're a superhero, you're always a superhero. And that's what they are here, is like the superheroes. Like, you try to get out, you try to protect your family, you try to lie to everybody to protect your family. Well, is that really the right thing to do? And you get some meta in it too. And I think everything just gives me supernatural vibes at this point, but I think it's also because supernatural just did everything over 15 years.
Oh,
So there's
of course they did. Yeah, they've touched on everything.
but it's because they did meta stuff too. It was like there was a scene in this where somebody wrote a comic book about the story of what happened with the Black Hammer. And that's in this issue of the Black Hammer. And they want to go find the author. And if that is not Chuck in
It is.
Supernatural,
Yeah,
like
yeah. The Prophet.
it's a monster at the end of the book.
Yeah,
So that's really fun. I want to continue reviewing them, not having the backstory, because I feel like that's a better review to recommend it to somebody who was not familiar with it. And like some people, okay, I want to read this little story. I don't want to get overwhelmed and have to watch, 25 MCU
yeah, for
movies
sure.
and 17 million shows. So I really want to prove to other people they can enjoy it on their own by doing it myself. And then I think when this issue's done, then I do want to go back and then it'll be like a prequel origin story. I did watch Gen V. I had to fan myself and rewind it and watch it again.
Oh my
Just that
god.
one scene.
I haven't watched. I'm still have only ever seen episode 1 yet. I don't know why.
The
I'm not
strike.
rushing to watch Loki or Gen V. Maybe it's because we're also not like really talking about them.
Right. I think that's a big part of it. Well, and it's spooky season. Loki's going
Yeah.
slow.
Oh,
Uh,
I've watched 2 episodes of Loki, so I'm about to be 2 weeks behind,
all
but
right.
still good.
Yeah, no, it's still good, but I do feel like it's moving a little slow. All I will say about Gen V until we can talk more is I need to get my hands on a Soldier Boy pillow.
Oh my! You just wake up. Oh god.
And I started Fall of Usher, the House of Usher. I've only gotten one episode in.
I've
I
watched that one
really
episode too. It's
like
really
it.
good. Yeah, Mike
Yeah.
Flanagan is amazing.
So, I mean, yeah, like we've talked before, I've seen every series he's done since Haunting on Hill House. And I always love being like, oh, there's that person, there's that person, that person was this and this and da 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 da. And I love that Elliot's always in it from ET because
Yeah.
I love that actor. I think he's a great actor. He was dormant for years, so it's so nice every year to see him in these. Um, and Mark Hamill plays the lawyer, the family's
He
lawyer.
does.
And at first, because there is some legal stuff in it, and when Isaiah Bradley, I don't remember what his name is in the show, Augie, Isaiah Bradley from Falcon and Winter Soldier is in
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
yeah. So he talks about like a surprise witness, and I was like, gosh, damn it, they're gonna go and mess up this show with some false like evidentiary stuff. And then Mark Hamill's like, objection, you can't do that. We have, you can't bring in a witness. I was like, okay, good, 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 good. Thank you. So they're not gonna totally just
Yeah.
do whatever the hell they want.
But it still
So
has
I'm
like that
liking that.
creepy that's like a play on Edgar Allan Poe at the same time, which is really cool.
I saw that at the very end, and the guy looked at the Raven. So
Yeah,
I was
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. And
ah,
Edgar Allan Poe is really creepy. And of course, if you know Mike Flanagan in this universe, it's always like a horror tie-in. So I'm very interested to
yeah.
see
And now I
where
think
this
about that
goes.
heart started beating.
Yeah, yep. Oh yeah.
Ah, okay. And I watched Totally Killer. That
How
was a
did you
lot of
like
fun.
that? Yeah,
It
you
was
did?
fun.
I man, it's I people have been kind of sleeping on it because it's an Amazon original, but it was a really cool idea. Like it's
Yeah, it
a
was.
go back in time to save your mom and protect from the killers. It was really cool. Like Kieran and Sharp does a really great job in this, and it doesn't take itself seriously at all.
No, and I think that's what it is. It's like it's a scary movie, but it's not scary. It's more so
Yeah,
fun than scary, even though like, kids are getting murdered.
it's almost
Uh
like meta. It's like kind of a Scream where it's like a slasher but meta commentary almost at the same time.
and seeing the girl go back in time and being like, your shirt is very problematic because
Yes,
it says
yes.
female. And yeah, all of the stuff kids say today, not realizing how crazy it was in the 80s.
I mean, even
The
15 years
time to be
ago, the stuff
alive.
people would say. I did watch another thing too, by the way. I watched the autopsy of Jane Doe, which has Emil Hirsch,
Is that
and
fiction?
yeah. So
Okay.
basically, the his dad is he plays his dad's a big actor. I forget the name. Anyways, Emil Hirsch and his dad are they work in a morgue and they get this body and they're doing stuff to it, and this whole time basically the body is a witch who had a spell on her, and she can feel every I don't really want to spoil it. Anyways, it's supposed to be like a really scary movie. Everybody's kind of said it's like one of the scary movies they've ever seen. Personally, I don't think so. However, it is still a good movie. It's pretty suspenseful, and there is a twist that I almost spoiled, and it kind of goes from there. It's an hour and a half, not a long watch at all. Worth watching, but not the scariest movie of all time by any means. So if you're looking for a
That
good
just
Halloween movie, yeah,
comes
it's
out. Yeah, you got 48 hours.
yeah, pretty much.
And then
And
it's time to be thankful.
it's oh god, my wife's already ready to put up like all this Thanksgiving crap, and my parents come in a couple weeks, and it's just
We're leaving for New York like
gets real stressful.
36 hours after Halloween. So I feel like I'm not doing Turkey Day crap for
That's
a
fine.
minute.
I don't even care about Thanksgiving, to be honest with you. It's such a stupid holiday.
I like my Publix pilgrims.
I like my pies, but that's because I'm fat.
I
So
love pies. I like pumpkin pie.
me too. Me too, man. All right, let's go into some
The
news. What do you
original
got
basic
for some
pie.
news for us?
Update on the strike. As of today, they're in negotiations. So that's good. They're at the
The
table. Who
studios are
knows?
very worried that if a deal doesn't get done in the next 7 to 10 days, that they're gonna have to cancel everything in 2024.
Well, so get it done.
Uh, maybe pay your people at that point. Like, if you're so
Yeah.
worried, you would pay your people. Just
It's
saying,
like a
right?
game of freaking chicken. It's like who's gonna turn the wheel first? Like, come on.
Ugh.
And I'm the studios need to turn the wheel first, not the
Obviously, yeah.
yeah. So Help Culture magazine has reported on the top rated untapped beers for this year, and no surprise, but Treehouse Julius was the most five-star check-in of this year. So I thought that was a lot of fun, especially
It's
since
great beer.
it's a fantastic beer that
I
I got
drank
to
that
have
this
this year.
weekend. Actually, you sent me one, and I drank it this weekend.
Oh, look at that. Barbie now has Ted Lasso dolls. So if you're a Ted
Yes, they
Lasso
do.
fan, you can go buy some Barbies. Daniel Radcliffe is executive producer on a documentary coming out about his former stunt double who became paralyzed during a stunt for Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Oh man.
Yeah. The documentary will be called David Holmes, The Boy Who Lived,
Oh,
and
would
it
you
will
look
come
at
out
that?
on
The boy who
HBO
lived,
November
come to
15th.
die.
How shitty to be like, I mean, obviously that's a risk of being a stunt person. And that's why they have stunt people because,
Yeah,
they're more
yeah.
expendable than the actor, but shit, man.
I
That
mean, it's
sucks.
cool that Daniel Radcliffe is still looking out for this guy, though. At the same
Yeah,
time, I mean, like Daniel Radcliffe, by all accounts, is like top tier human being, you know. And there was a report that came out that the rumors were he was getting really shredded to basically play Wolverine, and he was like, "No, I just came from a very fitness conscious family. This is what I like to do. I am a very fitness conscious person. I got shredded for my own good, not for Wolverine. Like I'm not playing
good for
Wolverine."
him.
So he seems like a really great guy.
I'm glad he's not playing Wolverine because Hugh Jackman. But no, that's good. My kids see me working out and they just sit on me or climb under me.
Yeah, you'll
So
be doing push-ups or something. Your
at
kids will be
least
sitting on your
his
back
fam,
and be like,
yeah.
God.
I'm in like downward dog and Logan crawls under me. I'm like, you are 6. Get away from me. You should know better by now. Oh yeah, plank. I got a kid on my back within 2 minutes.
Yep.
Well, not that I'm in plank that long. That would be impressive. And the Arts Festival at Epcot starts January 12th. If you have not been to the Arts Festival at Epcot, it's only been around, I think this will be the 8th year. It is fantastic. I feel like it's a little bit slept on. For one, it's downtime at Disney. And for two, people don't realize they still have a lot of food and wine and beer.
We're gonna
And
go
three,
in
the whole
February, aren't we?
place, it's, oh shit, you're going to be here, aren't you?
Yeah.
The whole place that was covered in art. And so you get to see all sorts of different
It's
art
art.
well, because remember when we were in
Belongs in a
Utah
museum.
and like you and Carrie would be like, oh, look at this piece. And I'm like, oh, I saw that at Epcot. Like I saw it all at the arts festival.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's right. Well, I guess I
So
got to go, so I'm going to jump on the 2024 con art circuit.
yeah, so that's coming and that's when you can get your Figment popcorn bucket and it's no longer 6 hours wait time to do
Oh,
that.
I'm getting a popcorn. No, that would be. We should drink around the world when I come out there.
I'm always down to drink around the
And
world. I'll be drinking around the
do
world
an
on
episode
Friday.
before, like this is us at the beginning of drinking around the
This
world.
is
Do an
my
episode us
first
at the
beer
end.
in
Yeah,
Mexico.
that's what we could do. You start in Canada, you swine. No, I'm just kidding.
You start in Mexico and then go to Canada.
I love Canada.
That's
Anyways,
how
I'm actually stoked. That'd be
the
it's
real
gonna be fun.
folk do it.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I
exciting.
always start in Canada if I'm not doing a proper
I
drinks
love
run because
Canada.
then you get to the pub quicker.
God bless Canada. What a great country.
And then you have
God,
Germany to look forward to.
it's true. It's all true, folks. It's all true. Now, some news I got. Paul Bettany, speaking of MegaCon, has been announced as the first guest, and this is taking place February 1st through 4th. Just an FYI. So get your tickets. They're on sale. We're hopefully going to have a panel or two. Either way, we're going to be there in some form or fashion. Pretty exciting stuff. And Oppenheimer is going to be releasing on digital November 21st. Kind of interesting that's coming out about a month later than Barbie, but maybe Christopher Nolan was squeezing every penny he could possibly get because this movie made just about $1 billion. And for a 3-hour biopic, pretty impressive, if you ask me. And then, man, everybody's favorite Doctor, David Tennant, will be returning because the Doctor Who series premiere is November 25th on BBC and Disney Plus. Of course, he's not going to be the Doctor full time. However, he is making his triumphant return
whatever I
as
can
the
get.
Doctor
And Dr. Donna.
Yes, Donna and him. And I'm just so excited. For once, it's been a while since I've been really excited for a Doctor Who series to come out, but I'm really excited about, and Cuddy going to be out there as the new Doctor, and just there's a lot to be excited for Doctor Who fans. So pretty pumped for that.
And bring back the Christmas specials. Nobody cares about your New Year's specials. It's about Christmas.
The New Year or the Christmas specials are always
they haven't done it
like the
since
Daleks or the
Capaldi.
Cybermen, and they were really cool, man.
And they switched it to New Year's. That's lame.
Nobody gives a shit about New Year's.
Give us Christmas. Give us evil snowmen and Christmas trees that spin.
Yeah, New Year, new me. No, I'm just a year older. Nothing matters anymore. So take that for what you will, folks. And
like we said, therapy works.
Today I learned, speaking of therapy, that John Carpenter and I are the same because John Carpenter. Ooh,
Carpenter. Is that ABV on that beer?
It's only 7%. John Carpenter on if he is one of the masters of horror films, quote unquote. Sorry, I'm eating a popsicle. I'm not a master of anything. I just want to play video games and watch basketball. That's all I care about doing. I don't want to bother anybody. Now, John Carpenter and I are the same because that's all I've been doing. I have been playing Spider-Man 2 on the PS5, and it might just be my favorite game of all time. My only complaint is I wish we got more Miles Morales. However, this is freaking cinema. Holy effing shit. You get to do mundane activities as Peter Parker. You get to play some missions as Mary Jane Watson. You like Harry is in this, and I'm not going to spoil anymore, but like Craven right now is the big bad guy. He's coming to New York
Oh,
City
what's going on with
because
that movie? That movie is supposed to come out like
it got
three
pushed
weeks
because of the
ago.
strikes. Yeah.
But to
Uh,
what? I
Hopefully
thought they would
better.
have still had that one ready to go
I think it comes out next fall now, but
next
uh,
year.
yeah, I think it got pushed till next fall.
That
Yikes.
seems a bit extreme.
Well, especially because after this Craven, who's coming to New York City because he is looking for a new hunt and he sees all the villains in New York City. So he's kidnapping villains to hunt them. And it's really crazy, dude. Like, it's off the walls, insane. It's such a good game. I cannot rave about this video game enough. It's so good. And now, my last bit of news is the top 10 Halloween costumes of the year 2023.
Barbie, Ken.
All right. Well, starting with number 10, we have a bunny. Number 9 is a ninja. Number 8 is a
What?
cowboy.
These are lame.
Number 7 is a dinosaur. Number 6 is Wednesday Addams.
Who wrote
Number
this list? A
5,
5-year-old?
this is from visualcapitalist.com.
Ahsoka.
Number 5 is a fairy.
Barbie.
Number 4 is a witch. Number 3 is Spider-Man. Number 2 is a
Okay.
princess. And number 1 is Barbie herself. Yeah, I don't know how they got their rankings, but I feel like these are all freaking lame. I'm going as Wario, and Carrie's going as Waluigi. That's our costumes this year.
So we're going to an adult grown-up party this weekend that's 80s themed. So we're going to be Jessica and Roger Rabbit.
Well, that's
and
a
then
cool. No, that's a deep pool, man. Not enough people put respect on that.
I love that movie so much.
Yeah, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit? That's a good pool.
But on Halloween for trick or treating, Logan's going to be Jack Skellington, and so he wants
Oh my
Josh.
God, Oliver's going to be Jack Skellington.
But so Josh is being Oogie Boogie, and he got the warmest costume ever, and it's probably going to be
man's gonna
hot
die
on Halloween, like it always is.
Oh my God.
And he asked me to be the tree that gets eaten by a snake. So
okay,
I'm making it happen. I got a green dress. I'm gonna glue ornaments to it. I know the snake eats a white tree, but I feel like that'll be harder to portray. I got a headband. I already made the snake.
That's a choice.
He's already eaten a present. It is a choice.
All right.
But the 6-year-old says, for Halloween, he's taken over. Brielle's being Spider-Man. She wants nothing to do with us and didn't want any of us to match her.
We tried to match with the kids. Like, I wanted Harper to be Princess Peach, but she said, no, I'm going to be Draculaura from Monster High. And I was like, all right.
Good for her.
And I was like, Oliver, why don't you be Luigi and I'll be Mario? He goes, no, I want to be Jack Skellington. So I said, okay. And now Carrie's favorite character on Mario Party is Waluigi. So I said, you know what? I'll be Wario. Whatever. And so we're going to do that this year. Why
That's
not?
Fun to say.
At least somebody in this house is going to match. Gosh dang it. Kids take all the fun.
We're going to have to post some pictures. I'm excited to see Josh as Roger Rabbit.
If I'm going to wear our costumes to Spooktacular at Busch Gardens on Sunday, because they're doing some trick-or-treating trail this weekend, because it's the last weekend of Spooktacular before they change it to the Christmas market. And
it happens quick.
It does. God, I'm not ready, but all right, folks.
So I did forget real quick. There were 2 other things I watched, because I did write, when you guys tell me to watch these movies, I am writing them down and I'm crossing them off.
Look at that.
I watched The New Haunted Mansion. Fantastic.
Right?
I loved it. It was so good. And did you catch little Namor, the Submariner?
I didn't see that, but like
he was one of the action figures. The kid set it down and I'm like, holy shit, that's Namor.
Oh.
So I thought that was a fun Easter egg.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
And I watched Lost Boys. I was like, I knew I watched an old movie. It was weird.
It was terrible.
But we saw the saxophone guy at Spookala, and yeah, we were all making jokes about it, and so we've all been rewatching. Well, I watched it for the first time, but I'm like, the saxophone guy's in this movie for 2 seconds. Why was he at Spookala with a saxophone? Like taking pictures, man, because he was in this movie.
Sometimes, like when they get to the bottom of the barrel as far as guests go, they really pull to find anybody and anyone.
I will say, if we ever see him again, we are definitely taking a picture, because we all regret not taking a picture, because the amount of joy looking at that picture would have brought us would have been totally worth it. Yeah. But we didn't want to ask him how much and then be like, whoa, dude, we're not spending that much to take a picture with
$60,
you.
$70 for this dude who, like, this is what he's riding high on from fucking 40 years ago now.
Josh still makes makes fun of me for my Haley Atwell picture. He's like, it just looks like you're taking a picture with Kaylee's teacher.
Oh, I have my Kevin Smith photo hung up in my office at work. Like I am
But Kevin
proud.
Smith dresses like Kevin Smith.
I
So
don't
it looks
care.
like you're taking a picture with Kevin Smith.
Listen,
Haley
Haley
Atwell
Atwell.
was dressed like a normal person,
I
not
wish
as
she was
Peggy
my
Carter.
teacher. Man, oof.
She was very tall too,
Oh
because she
yeah,
had,
even
I'm sure
better.
she had heels on. I think she's tall to begin with. So, I mean, I'm
Even
5'5" and
better.
I felt like she was towering over me. So, okay. Yeah.
All
Main
right.
topic.
Well, we are going to go to our main topic. All right. Sorry. Things got crazy. Thanks for hanging out with us. Stay tuned as we will be right back for cryptids, monsters, witches. Oh my. Welcome back, folks. We're here to talk cryptids, monsters, witches. Oh my. And of course, we're vibing
George
tonight, man.
Takei coming?
Maybe. We're really vibing tonight. And so we decided to go with another beer of the week, two this week for the price of one episode, if you could believe it. And mine is from Aslan Beer Company. It's called
Fucker, I have that in my fridge.
How Now Brown Cow, a milk stout brewed with pumpkin spice, coming in at 6% out of Alexandria, Virginia. They're also in Herndon, Virginia, and they might be opening a spot in Virginia Beach, allegedly. And man, this is a wicked, wicked good. It's got the stout flavors. It's got a lot of flavor to it. It's got nice, it's just delicious, folks. I love a good stout. I love a good pumpkin stout. This beer is on point. Aslan Beer Company is so freaking good. Check them out. Lauren, what do you got?
I'm drinking a Wine Stefhaner Fest beer because I just wanted something nice and light. And everybody told me like, oh, you go from the light beers to the hoppy beers to the hoppier beers to the hazies to the stouts, and then you end up back at the lagers and the pilsners. And I didn't believe them, and it's starting to happen. Which is, probably good because they're lower ABVs. But so I'm drinking that, and I got it in my cute little Mickey
Oh,
Germany glass.
that.
So, fun fact about 2020, Disney actually started having things on sale, and there was like these pass holder stores in 2020 that you could go to, fully masked everywhere you went, of course. And I got this glass for like $8, and it's in like the Germany store now for like 20. And so I feel
Look
like
at you ahead of the curve. You're a trendsetter. Hey.
I feel like there's some girl math in there somewhere.
There is. Well, folks, let's
Can't
talk
go wrong
about
with
it.
German beer. Oh, and some of the mythology we're talking about, like you get like German lore, so that's how I'm tying it in.
Ooh, nice. I do have a couple prefaces. I am going to talk about obviously Gray Sherwood, and then we're going to be talking about a couple different cryptids, and
we're kind of all over the place.
Yeah, we're
it's
kind of
mythological creatures.
We're going to tie them into like some supernatural episodes, but I also kind of have some lists of like the top 10 episodes or movies with whatever creature we're talking about. So, and then also I'm going to give you a brief history of the Salem witch trials. So, you know what? We're just
all
over the place today
to round out the season.
Yes. So
Lauren, I got a Wendigo on my shirt.
Ooh, I have our merch on. Am I lame for wearing our merch? Maybe, but you know what? Someone's got to do it, and you should buy it. So
Josh wears it more than I do.
He does. Josh is pimping us out. I love Josh. Can't wait to see Josh. We're gonna do a scooter gang. Whole thing. Big thing.
He's got that fancy fast scooter now. Yes. I call it the Widowmaker.
Ooh. Well, speaking
Sounds
of
like
widows, go into cryptids.
So cryptids are animals that cryptozoologists believe may exist somewhere in the wild, but whose present existence is disputed or unsubstantiated by science. Cryptozoology is a pseudoscience which primarily looks at anecdotal stories and other claims rejected by the scientific community. So that was a quote from Wikipedia. Because none of this is factually proven, I did get some stuff from Wikipedia. I did get some stuff from Britannica too. So there were legit sources, but also it's all referenced as mythology. So we will even be diving a little bit into, like you said before, all over the place. So we actually did in our Discord channel, I asked, we have a supernatural channel. If you want to join our Discord, we talk about all different things. And I said, what are everybody's favorite monsters in there? And somebody said, well, Castiel. So I did do a little bit on angels too. So we're going to tie all that in. It'll be a good grand old time. If you ever visit Portland, Maine, the Cryptozoology Museum is literally right next door to Bissell Brothers.
I never went there, even though I went to Bissell all the time. That's crazy to me.
Well, I think at Bissell, I think it's a new location. It was really nice. Like, and we didn't
Because
know
there's no way
because
I
we,
wouldn't go in a place like this at all.
right, and there's a Bigfoot statue out front. So you're not going to miss that. And they literally share a wall. So when we got to
Crazy.
Bissell Brothers the first night, we're like, wait, aren't we coming back here tomorrow? And I'm like, I had no idea they were literally next door to each other. It's, I know I talked about it before, right after the trip. It's a lot of fun, but it is very silly. It's like this guy was just obsessed with cryptozoology and just collected everything he could. And he can't keep it in his mom's basement. So he keeps it at this museum. That
That's what I'm
was
gonna do one day when Carrie won't let me have any Legos at the house because I have too many. She's gonna make me start a Lego
Lego
museum.
museum. I think you're onto something. There you go. Okay, so we have a few that will describe the monster, and then we'll give you the alleged origin, and then we'll give you the supernatural version and some pop culture stuff.
Yeah.
So, do you want to kick us off, or you want me to
Yes.
kick off?
Now I
Okay.
really like this one. So this is a good strong start. The Jersey Devil. Now, the Jersey Devil can be found in South Jersey and Philadelphia folklore. Listen, folks, it's not actually a Jersey Devil. That's just New Jersey women. Sorry to break it to you.
Ooh, I
Ooh, I
have
hate it.
girlfriends that live in Jersey.
I'm sorry. Sorry to break it to you this way. I hate New Jersey. Just to preface, New Jersey's a fucking armpit stain on this country.
I'm going
If
to a
anybody
wedding
here
there
is from
next
New
week.
Jersey, I'm sorry. I can't believe you're going 5 hours from me. You could at least stop and say hello, but it's
We're
fine.
flying over you.
You could at least stop and
Meet us at Back to the Future on Thursday.
well, anyways, it's believed to live in the forest of the Pine Barrens in South Jersey. And it has a kangaroo's body with wings. Some say horse or goat as a head, and some may say it also has horns and bat wings with small little arms, like a little T-Rex
Like a
arms,
T Rex, yeah.
and cloven hooves. And it even sometimes has a pitched forked tail. It apparently moves very quickly and can emit a high pitched, blood curdling scream. The Jersey Devil is sometimes referred to as Leeds Devil, which goes to the alleged origin. Fun fact, it's not actually the Jersey Devil screaming, it's just thousands of Taylor Swift fans watching the Eras tour, probably.
Well, that's
And
everywhere.
it is. The legend started with a woman in the 1700s who got pissed off that she was pregnant with her 13th child. Well, look,
I
I
love
know
this origin,
contraceptives
honestly.
contraceptives weren't a thing, but like we
But we
could
did they
have.
not know like at least pull out? Come on, pull and pray. That's not 100%, but it's better than
I'm
nothing.
like seriously, like there was some science,
Don't
okay?
pull and pray. Don't follow that advice. But if it was the 1700s and there was no other option, at least do that. I feel like
Don't
did
be
they
a
not know
dummy.
that
Like there's so many other targets. All right, dude, you don't have to every single time. Like it's not that good. It's the
there are
1700s.
other
It
targets?
probably is hot, sweaty,
Did
moist,
they
and
know that
disgusting.
that needed to happen? I mean, it seems like that should be
I feel like
very
they should have,
obvious.
but at the same time, like instinctually, like people have kinks and stuff. So like I don't know, man. 13 children, that's a lot. Lady, Jesus Christ, okay? Anyways, she had her 13th child, so she curses this child because really though, you have 12 kids. What's one more kid?
Curse the husband, not the
That's what I'm saying.
child.
Like, okay, you have 13 kids. Like, what's the difference between 12 and 13? Like, 12 is fine, but 13 is too much. Lady, you're like 11 kids too many at this point. Okay. So maybe you should have cursed your
Fair points.
husband and
Or
maybe
gotten a
talk to
reality show.
God bless. And so she curses her child because that's just what sane human beings in the 1700s do. And of course, the Jersey Devil is then born. She is known as Jane Leeds or Mother Leeds. Now, I am going to go in real quick and talk about the top 10 movies featuring the Jersey Devil,
Ooh.
starting. This is all according to imdb.com now, okay? Number 10, Scribble Knots Unlimited. I don't know what.
To make that up.
That's a video game. Sorry, I don't know what the fuck that is. What are we doing here, IMDb? All right. Anyways, here we go. King of the Park Rangers starts at number 10. Park Ranger Patricia King and FBI agent Alan Blake set out to track down a trio of killers and uncovered buried treasure of Captain Kidd in the New Jersey Pine Barrens in the first 12-chapter serial of the 21st century, whatever that means. Number 9 is called The Despair. It is a 2009 movie where two drug addicts named Sean and Cliff decide to leave a rehab facility, pick up their friends, and head to Cliff's uncle's cabin in Pine Barrens of New Jersey. And number 8, Leeds Point. After a mass disappearance and brutal killing at a local campsite, the residents of Leeds Point believe a madman is on the loose. Unfortunately for Chase, many people believe that man to be none other than the Jersey Devil. So, woo, crazy
Did
stuff.
not see that coming.
No. Number 7, the 13th child, the Jersey Devil. It's an all in depth look at one of the most horrifying legends of the New Jersey Pine Barrens. Number 6, Satan's Playground. Satan's Playground is a chiller with a vacationing family lost in the woods, and the Jersey Devil lurking in the Pine Barrens. I wonder how many of these are legit, like shitty straight to DVD movies, because I've never
Probably
heard of a
all of
single
them.
one of
I've
these.
never heard of any.
Number 5, In Search of Monsters. Each episode investigates a different monster, so this is kind of just like an anthology thing. Number 4, 13th Child. People are being killed by someone or something using superhuman strength. So, all right. A clever DA assistant is sent to investigate. Is this just a way to commit the perfect murder? Or will the legend of the Jersey Devil be true?
I
True,
think it's a
true,
way to
true.
cover a perfect murder.
Probably. Number 3 is Carney. A devilish creature escapes from a carnival to wreak havoc on a small town.
Carney. That
Number
seems
2,
messed up.
the Barrens. A man takes his family on a camping trip and becomes convinced they are being stalked by the legendary monster of the New Jersey Pine Barrens, the Jersey Devil. And number 1, the 1998 film The Last Broadcast, where a film crew ventures into the forest in search of the mythical Jersey Devil. Not heard of a single one of those movies.
So in Supernatural, I never encounter a Jersey Devil, but in the episode How to Win Friends and Influence Monsters, they think that they might be dealing with the Jersey Devil. However, it was just a town folk who was all drunk on turducken sandwiches in the
That's
woods.
right. That was a really fun episode, though.
That was a funny. It's where Dean's like, "Oh, I don't care that I don't care."
Yeah.
But it was fun seeing Hi Dean. But yeah, those were the Biggerson sandwiches that the Leviathans had poisoned.
That was fun. Well, take us away into our next cryptid creature.
You want me to take over Bigfoot,
Yes, I do.
Sasquatch, the
Yes.
skunk ape, as he's known down here in Florida?
Sure. Fun fact. Okay, so I was stationed in Northwest Florida, and there was a big rumor that Duke Field, which is Crestview, has a Bigfoot, and the Special Forces members would always tell rumors of a Bigfoot out in the swampy woods of Crestview, Florida, of all places. And it always would
It's
creep
just
me
a
out at
Florida
night.
man.
Yeah, well, like I never believed it, but at the same time, when you go to it's a guard base, so there's nobody there past a certain time, and you would have to lock up our shop at night. And so when it's 10 o'clock at night and you're the only person there, and it's dead quiet, pitch blackout, you kind of tend to believe those things, like the faintest sound, which is probably just a rabbit or a snake or
It's
something.
probably a okay. So I was thinking about that the other day. I can't walk from my car to my door, which is not far at all, without hearing rustling in the bushes. It's lizards or
Goddamn Jersey Devil,
cats or raccoons. It's most likely always
the
lizards. There's a
skunk ape.
shit ton of lizards, but I never stop and turn around and go, "Hello, is
Oh my
anybody
god,
there?"
I feel like we're the only two white people that would legitimately never be in a horror movie for the sole fact that as soon as shit starts to go sideways, like we're out.
Well, I could see getting murdered though because I don't even turn around at the rustling in the bushes, and I'm
That's
just
no
like,
fun. I feel like the
let me get my
murderer,
keys."
no, the murderer is basically like, well, she's no fun. She's not
Well, I could
playing
be the
along.
murder at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, you could be like, oh, okay, real funny, Josh, and keep walking into your house and
Oh,
absolutely get
Josh would
stabbed.
100% do shit like that,
That's
especially
funny.
because I'm an easy jump scare. So yeah,
Yeah,
everybody can
but
get me real
that's my
good.
Bigfoot story though, by the way.
Okay. Um. Oh, I did not fact check this. It just popped into my head when they were filming Return of the Jedi. They had to have somebody walking around with Chewie at all times with like an orange vest because they were scared people were going to shoot him, thinking he was Bigfoot.
Oh my god.
I should fact check that, but it sounds plausible. Sounds like that
It
could be accurate.
sounds especially for the 70s, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, and he's so like Peter Mayhew is so tall by himself, and
Oh
with the
yeah.
costume even taller. So Bigfoots are also known as Almas, Yeren, and Yeti in Asia. The Australian version is called the Yowie. It's often called the missing link. Bigfoot is not a new story that people tell. It's been around for a while. So we could do multiple actual episodes on Bigfoot. So you're just going to get
Don't
the cliff
tempt me
notes
with a
today.
good time.
Maybe next year. He's not even Halloween. We could do Bigfoot another day.
Yeah.
Oh, we should do Harry and the Hendersons. On the Tool River Indian Reservation, petroglyphs created by a tribe of Yukuts at a site called Painted Rock allegedly depict a group of Bigfoot called the Family. The local tribespeople
So this was
call
held by Dom Toretto, like he started the Bigfoot.
I don't do Fast and Furious
The
jokes.
Family.
Ah,
Come on,
my bad.
Jesus.
My bad. I'm just here for the party. So the largest of the glyphs is called the Hairy Man, and they're estimated to be about 500 to 1,000 years old. In the 16th century, Spanish explorers and Mexican settlers told tales of the vigilantes esqueros, or dark watchers. These were large creatures that stalked their camps at night. In the region now known as Mississippi, a Jesuit priest was living with the
Just inbreds.
Natchez probably in 1721 and reported stories of hairy creatures in the forest known to scream loudly and steal livestock. The Iroquois tell of an aggressive hair covered giant with rock hard skin known as the Otne Yar He, or stone giant, more commonly referred to as the Genosqua. Okay, drinking
Okay,
game.
but
Anytime I
like,
say something that's like off the wall or just not English, drink.
to be fair, Native Americans were known for like getting high a lot though. So
That's true. Well, and I mean, all of this, it's at night. It's your imagination. Things are running wild. I personally don't believe any of this. Are there creatures we haven't
oh,
discovered in
Bigfoot's
the
real.
ocean
Shut
and on
shut your
land?
mouth.
100%. Yeah. Okay.
Ian and I will go to
There's
war
also
with you.
people who have that hair condition. Like back in the day, if that person was just like walking around, I mean, like now we're more civilized and that person would have on like
My God, man, shave
normal
your legs.
clothes and stuff. Oh my God, it's just a hairy woman. But also, have you ever seen a bear without hair? It's scary looking.
They are, or like the sloth bears. Those things are raggedy looking, man.
Yeah. So there's all sorts of things. We do get into a little bit of that. So, okay. So in the 1800s, there was a Protestant reverend who was on a mission and he recorded stories of giants among the natives living near Spokane, Washington, which obviously they capitalize on the whole Bigfoot stuff. These
Yes.
giants were said to live on and around the peaks of the nearby mountains, stealing salmon from the fishermen's nets. So in July 1924, an article was actually published in the Oregonian, and it made national news when a story described ape men in a gorge near Mount St. Helens. The prospectors reported encountering gorilla men near the remote cabin, and an investigation did occur, and they said this is basically bullshit, but the area is
Planet
still
of the
known
Apes, man.
as Ape Canyon. The origin of Bigfoot came in 1958 by Jerry Crew, a bulldozer operator who had a logging company in Humboldt County, California. And he discovered a very large set of footprints that were about 16 inches and they looked human like. They were sunk deep into
Inches.
the mud in the Six Rivers National Forest. I've been to Six Rivers Brewery, so that's a fun brewery.
Ooh,
I've
I've
also,
been up to Washington. They really lean into the whole Sasquatch thing up there. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, makes sense. Upon letting his coworkers know, many claimed that they had seen similar tracks on different job sites with a bunch of odd things happening, like things getting moved around and stuff. And that's how he got the name Bigfoot. So, do you want to talk about some of this Bigfoot story or do you want me to keep going?
Okay. Yeah.
There are many other stories. However, scientists think it's all just misidentification. That's kind of what we were just saying.
Yes.
Bears walk
So
on 2 feet.
bears, yeah. For example, bears walk on 2 feet. Some say exotic pets that have been let loose, such as apes, chimpanzees, and other animals. Another theory is feral humans. During the 80s, several psychologically damaged Vietnam veterans were said to have been living in remote wooded areas in Washington state. Now, listen, this one I buy into on according because so I lived in Idaho for a while and everything east of the Cascades in Washington and like northwest Idaho are all like militia members. So take that for what you will. So like I'd very much believe that there's just like grungy human beings that are like hills have eyes kind of people living up in that area. So
Off the grid.
yeah, oh yeah, without a doubt. However, many studies have been done trying to prove or disprove Bigfoot's existence. One study done by John Napier in the 70s said, I am convinced that Sasquatch exists, but whether it is all cracked up to be is another matter altogether. There must be something in Northwest America that needs explaining, and something leaves man like footprints. This is one of the few things that does not actually exist in Supernatural. They thought maybe they found one once, but it was actually a giant stuffed teddy bear that had been wished alive. It was depressed. It shot itself in the head. This is probably the funniest scene in Supernatural to date to me because this freaking poor teddy bear shoots itself in the
Like,
head.
why am I here for a
And then
tea
it literally at
party?
the end, it has like a
Band
bandage
aid.
X across it shot itself in the head. You see the stuffing fly out. It was fucking hilarious. Oh my god. It was
That
it
was a
was
good
crazy.
one.
However, all right, let's get into our top 10 movies that feature
This one should be good.
Bigfoot. This
If
one's gonna be
Harry and the
good.
Hendersons isn't on this
All
list,
right.
we're
Well, first
shutting
things
it
first,
down.
we got the 2008 film called Strange Wilderness, featuring Jonah Hill, of course, and
Oh, I
Steve
remember it.
Zahn, Justin Long. This movie's hilarious. It's a Happy Madison production. It's also got the guy who played Farva in it. And this movie's hilarious. Dude, it's so funny. They go out to save their, save their TV show. It's such a good movie. It is hilarious. It's not all these are gonna be horror, of course, right? But this
No,
one,
because Bigfoot's become a staple.
yeah, Bigfoot's not. So number 9, we have the 1980 film called Night of the Demon. It's one of the strangest Bigfoot movies. It's called Night of the Demon. It arrived in 1980 and it remains a cult classic to this day. The movie centers on the anthropologist who heads out to prove that Bigfoot really exists. However, his group ends up hunted and killed by the creature. Interesting. Interesting. That one is. And then number 8 is Abominable. It's the 2006 film that was released. It's a straight horror movie that has some familiar faces. Genre fans are likely to recognize Jeffrey Combs from Reanimator, D. Wallace Stone from The Hills Have Eyes, and Paul Gleason from The Breakfast Club. They're all part
Is
of the
Monsters
cast.
Inc. on this list?
I don't know. Matt McCoy stars a paraplegic who stays at a cabin in the woods when a Bigfoot monster sets its eyes on him.
Why would you
Bigfoot,
stay in a
come on,
cabin
man.
in the woods by himself and he can't run?
But Lieutenant Dan, you ain't got no legs. Bigfoot's got a weird fetish for people without legs, apparently.
Well, they're
Yeah,
easy bait.
it picked up a huge cult following, apparently. It's one of the biggest Bigfoot movies that are out there. I've not seen it. So, number 7 exists. It's a 2014 film that is now on Roku and Tubi. By the way, Abominable is actually on Peacock. You can watch it there. So, many
Does
fans
he have snow
consider,
cones?
I don't know, exists to be one of the best Bigfoot movies to be released in recent years. Eduardo Sanchez, who is the creator of the Blair Witch Project, decided to create his own found footage Bigfoot film. He uses past
To go to
techniques at the
UCF.
start. Halfway through the film, it becomes a full-blown monster movie. Despite being criticized for weak characters, the movie is praised. Interesting. Number 6, Willow Creek. So Willow Creek, which you can stream on Peacock. Willow Creek is a found footage film that follows 2 hikers who travel to Willow Creek, California, the site where the famous Patterson Gimlin footage was shot. The movie is a slow burn with very little action. Boring. Director Bobcat, whatever. They talk about small noises barely heard, quick glimpse of a shadow. People
So
call
wondering
it
where Harry and the Hendersons are.
weird. Number 5, The Man Who Killed Hitler and then Bigfoot. This is on Tubi.
The man
I
who
saw
killed
this.
Hitler, I can't even tell you because you haven't gotten there yet, is in
Okay.
Supernatural.
Well, Sam Elliott plays a retired soldier in this who took part in a secret operation to assassinate Hitler. In 1987, he lives a secluded life in the woods. However, one day, a government agent comes knocking on his door to tell him a strange viral infection is killing people around the world and that the source of the virus is the elusive Bigfoot. Only he can save humanity from a growing pandemic by killing the virus host animal.
Who's Sam Elliott?
Yes.
He also tried to kill Prancer. So
that's true. But this
I
movie
don't
is
always
good.
agree
I have
with
seen
Sam
this movie.
Elliott.
It is ridiculous. It's a 2018 film. Absolutely.
Oh,
ridiculous.
so it's new.
Yeah, it's relatively new. Number 4, Letters from the Big Man, came out in 2011. It's on Prime. It's one of the most unique Bigfoot films. And Sarah is tasked with hiking the remote forest of Oregon to conduct field research. She hears the thumping of logs, snapping of branches, sounds of footsteps in the forest. Soon she learns she's being followed by Bigfoot. However, she's not afraid. Bigfoot isn't either. The movie is actually about the 2 characters stealing glances at each other from a distance. And the movie plays with the ideas of curiosity, exploration, and learning to share the forest with native life. So they're like, are they gonna fuck or what?
Sounds like an interspecies erotica movie. Yeah.
No shit.
This is the prequel to Beauty and the Beast.
Well, did he come or what? You just can't ask something. Number 3, The Legend of Boggy Creek from 1972. The Legend of Boggy Creek is a part documentary, part reenactment film. Okay. Number 2, the 1987 film Harry and the Hendersons.
Thank you. Finally. Ooh, I got scared there for a minute.
About friendly Bigfoot who just wants to be a part of the family, man. It helped teach audiences that those who don't look like them aren't necessarily scary. The movie received lukewarm reviews from critics. It went on to be a big box office hit. John Lithgow is in it. It even won the Academy Award for Best Makeup. And a few years later, it led to a sitcom of the same name that ran for 3 seasons.
I think the mom was from Christmas Story. We watched
Maybe.
it a couple of years ago with Brielle.
You can actually
Well,
watch
and
it
I
on
love it
Tubi.
that the end, like when you see the other ones, like how they come out, because everyone says like Bigfoot's like number one hide and go seek champion. And
Yeah,
it's like we could have been passing Bigfoots all along and not knowing it.
it's true. The number one
Glad I made the
Bigfoot
list.
film is a 2019 film called Missing Link. It is on Netflix. And this animated feature, Bigfoot's Lost in America's Pacific
Oh, I think
Northwest,
I
enlists the
watched
help
it.
of a cryptozoologist to find his family of Yetis in the Himalayas, despite a massive budget and an all-star voice cast such as Hugh Jackman, Zach Galifianakis, Zoe Saldana. The movie did not fare very well.
Yeah, that's number one. I did watch
It's
this with the
animated.
kids. It's not bad. It's cute. It's funny.
Listen, you want to know what my number one Bigfoot movie is?
Monsters Inc. Ooh, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Wrong. It is none other than Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny. When he gets high, well, okay, so they go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he gets really high because they had the fight, and he goes high, and Sasquatch is like, "But Jables, you already are my father," and he's like really high, and he's flying on Sasquatch, and there's a whole song about it. That's my Sasquatch.
Wow, I think I've only seen that movie once, and I might have been high when I watched it.
Fucking love that movie. It is a underrated gem.
I remember enjoying
so good.
it.
All right. Anyways,
shall we go on to
forward? Take us away on the Wendigos.
Wendigo. Okay, so Wendigos there's a lot
Obijue, Eastern Cree. It's West Main, Swampy Cree, Nescapi. Do any of those words mean anything to anybody?
And Innu lore. I think it's all Native American. There's a lot of Native American lore here.
Wendigos are very much Native American.
Yeah. So Wendigos are often described as giants. Some lore says they're human size. Some say, though, that they're giants because when they would eat a person, they would then grow in proportion to the meal they just ate, which is why they can never be full and they're still eating. Therefore, Wendigos are portrayed simultaneously as gluttonous and extremely thin and looking like they are starving. The shirt I am wearing that has a Wendigo on
nice
it.
To have a metabolism like that.
Is a beer from Tactical Brewing called Swift Runner. And I'll actually get into that into a second. So the Wendigo can still talk and use tools in a lot of the lore. And again, a lot of the lore we're talking about is all over the place. There's different ones. And that's kind of, you see Sam and Dean struggle with that. Well, what does this lore say? What does that lore say? Okay, was there anything that was common in between all of them as to how to kill this thing? So you can see why they would get frustrated. So the Wendigo is the embodiment of gluttony, greed, and excess. It's never satisfied with killing or consuming a person, and they're constantly searching for new victims. The origin is believed that people became Wendigos via Wendigo psychosis, which is when a human becomes possessed by the Wendigo spirit after being in a situation of needing food and having no other choice but cannibalism. So one of the more famous cases of Wendigo psychosis is a guy named Swift Runner. And so this is the beer Tactical Brewing did was called Swift Runner. Fantastic beer. Every time they release it, I get it. I believe I've sent you one. I've drank it more than once on this show.
I'm pretty sure you have. You sent me a lot of their beer. Really good stuff.
So I actually wore this shirt to family business because I didn't want to be like an obvious like supernatural fan, but I was like, well, this is subtle. Only I understood it. That's how subtle it was. Okay, so during the winter of 1878, Swift Runner and his family were starving, and his eldest son died. They were about 25 miles away from emergency food supplies. However, Swift Runner went ahead and butchered and ate his wife and the remaining 5 children. Given that he resorted to cannibalism so close to actual food supplies and he didn't really need to kill them and consume them, it was revealed that he must have been experiencing Wendigo psychosis. He eventually confessed and was executed. There are many other versions and theories, and like I was just saying before, that's why Sam and Dean get mixed up. And in episode 2, so it's basically something if you're starving and you eat people, you become a Wendigo, but it's not really your fault. It's Wendigo psychosis.
It's my children who are always hungry. They're Wendigos.
God, it's Logan, yeah. So in episode 2 of Supernatural, in which a young Han Solo is in, this creature was a grayish, creepy looking monster about the size of a human. He almost looked more like a devil. Do you remember the National Enquirer where they had like Devil Boy Born?
Yeah.
I feel like he looked like that picture.
That's like that's good. Yeah.
But he did look emaciated. And a lot of times the depictions include a skull with antlers and they look more like animal than man. These Wendigos were once human, but had become something else when they were forced to eat human flesh to survive, and they hibernate and like to store live food. Again, this is the supernatural spin on it. You need fire to kill them in Supernatural. And in the lore, Wendigos can't mimic others like they did in the show when he like pretended he was the one guy and he's like, help. In the show, they also used Anasazi, which is a Native American tribe's symbols, as protection against the Wendigo, which that D-bag guy ignored and got killed. So Wendigos are seen in many other pop culture stories as well, and in many different variations. However, we have to mention the Wendigo in the appearance of Wolverine. So the Wendigo first appeared in Marvel Comics in The Incredible Hulk 162 in April 1973. However, he later appeared in a special issue of 180 to 181 in 1974 of The Incredible Hulk when the very first Wolverine appearance occurred.
Ooh.
This Wendigo almost does look like an abominable snowman, and in the comics, he's described as, quote, if man could put a name to all his darkest fears, his most secret savage horrors, that name would be Wendigo, end quote. The name in the comics comes from the sound he apparently makes, and then they do Wendigo. He shows up throughout the comics, but obviously this is the most important one because it's the first appearance of Wolverine.
I
And that's what I got about the Wendigo, and that's why I had the comic out.
got some quick movies for you guys, of course. The Now this list comes from Screen Rants, which I have my own thoughts about them. However, I want to shout out the movie Antlers with Kerry Russell. It's a very recent movie from I think it was A24. It features very prominently a Wendigo in that movie. It's a very, very good movie. I highly recommend that. Now, this is a top 8 scary Wendigo movies. And coming in at number 8 was Pet Sematary, the 2023 version, which you can get on Paramount Plus.
I chose not to include that because I fucking hate those movies.
Yeah, I've only ever seen one. I don't remember. So this basically it's called Pet Sematary Bloodlines. It's a sequel to the 2019 remake. And when it comes to Bloodlines, it's a story about Timothy Batterman, a man who died in World War II but returned from the dead, and soon the murders start, which leads Judd's father, Dan, to join the other town's founding fathers to stop him. Whatever. Now, on Shudder, we have the 2006 film The Last Winter, which, however, it says, barring the third act, the Wendigo actually never appears in The Last Winter, but it's the fear of the existence that contributes to an eerie atmosphere throughout its duration. That's not buying it for me. Number 6, Frostbiter, The Wrath of the Wendigo, a 1996 film you can find on Amazon. And a horror comedy from the 90s, Frostbiter starts off with two friends embarking on a hunting trip. As they break a sacred circle in the process, they are chased by a Wendigo on a murderous rampage. Number 5, the 2019 film Pet Sematary, which is also on Paramount Plus. And Pet Sematary features a mystical burial ground that is capable of bringing back the dead. However, this ground awakens dark forces such as the Wendigo.
Dead should stay
4, Ravenous, the 1999 film. It's actually, the Wendigo never actually appears, and it's just got a presence in this movie. Lame, in my opinion. Number 3, The Retreat, which is a 2020 film on voodoo. As a group of campers ventures out in the forest for a winter backpacking trip for the retreat, one of them gets lost in the wilderness, only to encounter a dreaded Wendigo. Interesting. Apparently, it's a very good movie. Number 2, the 2001.
Apparently.
Haven't seen any of these, folks. No, actually, I haven't seen any of them. Number 2, Wendigo, 2001 film on Tubi. A city dweller accidentally hits a deer in the woods, believes that he's haunted by the Wendigo as a revenge.
They do look like they have a skull deer head.
It's true. And the number 1 is a 2014 film called Dark Was the Night, which is on Prime. Set in a small town, Dark Was the Night features a Wendigo that preys on livestock and eventually humans in a recently decimated forest. Instead of explicitly mentioning the creature's name, it is treated as an ominous figure throughout the film. And there you have Wendigos. And
Wendigo.
Going on to Chupacabras now, which is the next one. I don't actually have any sort of pop culture reference to anything else here, so I'll run through these so Lauren can hit her supernatural. Now, Chupacabra translates to goat sucker. Listen, we don't kink shame around here. It's a Puerto
Well,
Rican.
I mean, you might want to kink shame that one.
I mean, whatever
There's some
works for
things you
you,
can kink
bud.
shame.
Puerto Rican comedian and
Only
entrepreneur
if the goat
Silverio
consents.
Perez is credited with coining the term chupacabras. There are multiple reports beginning in the 80s of animals found dead with holes in them and allegedly no blood. A 5-year investigation by Benjamin Radford, documented in his 2011 book, Tracking the Chupacabra, concluded that description given by the original eyewitness in Puerto Rico, Madeline Tolentino, was based on the creature Sil in
So
the 1995 science fiction horror film Species. The alien creature Sil is nearly identical to Tolentino's Chupacabra eyewitness account, and she had seen the movie before her report. It was a creature that looked like the Chupacabra with spines on its back and all. The resemblance of the Chupacabra was really impressive, and Radford revealed that Tolentino believed that the creatures and events she saw in Species were happening in reality in Puerto Rico. And yeah, so take that for what you will. Many scientists think that the animals spotted have been coyotes with the mange disease, which is caused by mites burrowing under the skin of coyotes. They can lose their hair, they can be weaker, they may go after livestock.
because
Yeah,
it's
this
easy to
one's a
prey.
bit more easy to call bullshit on, especially on
I
that
thought
one.
they had confirmed like chupacabra was real not long ago, but
No.
they said they think that what it is are probably coyotes with some issues going on. But there are animals who drink blood in the desert because it's their
There
only
are. I mean,
form of
yeah.
liquid.
What
Yeah.
what do you got for supernatural for us as far as
Um,
chupacabra goes?
So they never actually deal with chupacabras, but chupacabras are real and supernatural, and they are mentioned in season 2, season 4, season 8, season 11, and season 12. And Yellow Fever, which is the episode where Dean screams and he's scared of everything with the ghost sickness. Sam asks Dean, what could scare someone to death? To which Dean responds, what can't? Ghosts, vampires, chupacabra? It could be 100 things.
True.
So that's fun. And in season 12, there is a hilarious outtake. It's the British invasion episode. Again, it's only a mention. And Ketch, who is not really English, which I learned that in Utah when I went to go see him in Crowley at a panel, and he wasn't speaking with an accent. He kept saying chupacabra in like English. So Jensen and Jared just kept making fun of him, going
Chupacabra.
chupacabra. He's like chupacabra, and they just kept going back and forth. So that's a fun outtake. But they never deal with them. They
Yeah,
never really
I'm calling.
seem
Yeah, I don't care about chupacabras. Why don't you take us on to the next three before I dive into some witchcraft and wrap this baby up?
witchcraft. Are you too scared to do the scarecrow god one?
Okay, Scarecrow God's probably the single creepiest episode of Supernatural that I've seen to date.
That's so
Yes.
funny. So again, this goes back to our Discord where we asked people their favorite monsters, and Scarecrow was one of them that were said. That's in season 1. He was a god. So in Supernatural, the crazy people would sacrifice a man and a woman to the Scarecrow near the sacred tree to keep their town how they wanted it. The Vanir were Norse gods of protection and prosperity, keeping local settlements safe from harm. The villages built effigies of the Vanir in their fields. Other villages practiced human sacrifice, one male and one female, and a specific god, though, was never mentioned by name. At least I don't remember. I couldn't find it on the interwebs. I did not rewatch it this week. But they kept referring to him as Vanir. So this mythology is Norse mythology. So Norse mythology contains two groups of deities or god, the Aesir, Aesir, and the Vanir. So the Vanir is what we're dealing with here. They were a race of gods responsible for wealth, fertility, and commerce. And that's what they were, saying, like their farmlands were doing good and they were making money, so they have to keep killing people. They were worshipped by farming communities, and their gifts included fertility, maritime life, and material success, which makes sense if it was Norwegian as far as the maritime life, because they were supposedly good with navigation. So both Vanir and Aesir gods mainly come from at least two of the 9 realms. You know all this from the Thor movie with the 9 realms. So the Aesir are actually the realm of Asgard, and the Vanir are the realm of Vanaheimir. So additionally, some of the gods within each pantheon are born of each other. They have sex with each other and have kids with each other and marry each other and all that fun stuff. But the Aesir are Odin, Frigga, Thor, Loki, Balder, Heimdall, all those people we've met in the
Yeah.
movies. Um, so Balder was actually in the episode Hammer of the Gods as well. So that's a fun fact. So that's the Vanir guy. So they never really named him by name.
Okay,
So
that's
there
cool.
you go. Shall I go into Loki?
Yeah. Yeah. Loki, and then dive into Castiel there.
So Loki, the trickster god. So I'm not going to talk about the MCU version. This was another request as the favorite monster. His name is derived from the Old Norse word logi, which means fire or flame, reflecting his unpredictable and fiery nature. Like Prometheus, he is also the god of fire. Prometheus is another god that shows up in Supernatural. Hela is not the sister of Thor and Loki in the mythology, but actually Loki's daughter. So this would make, and Krampus is actually his grandson because Hela is Krampus's mother. Loki once used mistletoe to kill someone in Norse mythology. Loki is a father to people, a wolf, and a serpent, and he is a mother to an eight-legged horse. In Supernatural, he is the trickster god. He does love sweets and can do all sorts of illusions. Both of these are consistent with Norse mythology. Matt, you have not met Loki yet. You have only met
Not
Gabriel.
yet.
So in Norse mythology, Loki is responsible for, or in Supernatural, no, in Norse mythology, Loki is responsible for the death of Balder, who I just mentioned we see in the Hammer of Gods episode when Gabriel is quote unquote killed by Lucifer and then shows up in Casa Erotica. I and yeah, so that's just some fun facts about Loki. He does love his candy and women. Demon Blood Sam. So I did give this a Google because somebody said this was their favorite monster, and I was hoping to find something about like drinking of demon blood and
But
some
nothing.
satanic ritual. No, I just kept getting supernatural stuff and cocktail recipes.
Ooh,
There is an
cocktail recipes.
interview.
All right.
Yeah, there was a lot of cocktail
I'm the
recipes.
slutty pumpkin.
I did see an interview once with Jared and Jensen where they were asking Jared about, will you ever let your kids watch the scenes with you and your wife? Because they're going at it pretty hot and heavy for a CW show. And people even said, like, oh, there was some chemistry between them already. That's what those scenes were a little too real. And his response was, that's not the weirdest thing we've ever done on camera. And I'm assuming he was referring to the drinking
Her
of the
drinking.
blood,
Yeah, I would hope
but
so.
the audience lost it and it was funny. And then Castiel. So Castiel, I just looked up angels. The three archangels, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, who are all in the show, are the only angels named in sacred scripture. The below these are definitions from Britannica. So just citing my sources. A cherub is in Jewish, Christian, and Islamic literature a celestial winged being with human, animal, or bird like characteristics.
Okay.
And the reason I'm mentioning these is because they also describe a seraph having like three pairs of wings and serving as a throne guardian of God and having like more than one head and whatnot as well. And the reason I'm saying that is because Zechariah actually mentions this in Supernatural. So Castiel at one point says he's the size of the Chrysler building, but we never see any of their true forms. And Dean is mocking Zachariah at one point, calling him bald. And he says, if only you could see my true form, I have 6 wings and 4 faces, one of which is a lion. So this is pulled from actual mythology. So yeah, and Castiel even says at one point when he's like, I thought angels were supposed to be nice. He's like, read your Bible. That's not what we are. Castiel specifically, though, means my cover is God or shield of God. And supposedly, I don't know if this was true. I have not found anything that I would cite the source for. Kripke got the name by Googling Angel of Thursday, which is the day of the week it came out at the time. And Crowley even calls Castiel the Angel of Thursday at one point. But when I Googled it, I got Angel Sachiel, Sachiel, which means the covering of God. It could be from that. But Sachiel is a cherub and a resident of the first heaven. He is Angel of Thursday who rules over wealth and affluence and charity. There is never one without the other. I don't know what that means. So Castiel is not a real angel. There's also Cassiel, which is sometimes described as the angel of tears and the angel of temperance. Castiel drinks, so he can't be the angel of temperance. That's what I got. Other people recommending
Right.
vampires and werewolves. They need their own
Well,
episode.
yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna do a full. I think next year we'll do full dives into like witchcraft, vampires, and werewolves because I wanted to just end this on my beer, who is about Grace Sherwood, the Witch of Pungo. And so, just a quick backstory to who that was. On July 10th, 1706, a 46-year-old Princess Anne County woman named Grace Sherwood faced an unusual legal procedure. Her hands were tied, and she was about to be thrown from a boat into a river as a test to see if she was a witch. For several years, neighbors talked of how the midwife, healer, and widowed mother of 3 had ruined crops, killed livestock, and conjured up storms. Then, in January of 1706, Luke Hill formally accused Sherwood of witchcraft. The case passed from the county court to the Attorney General of Virginia without any judgment. Finally, authorities in Princess Anne County ordered that the accused be ducked in consecrated water to determine her guilt or innocence. By this ordeal, if she sank, she would be declared innocent, but if she floated, her identity as a witch would be proven. A spot in the Lynnhaven River off of what is today known as the Witch Duck Point was chosen. Grace Sherwood was bound and thrown from a boat. She managed to untie herself and rose to the surface, proving to those present that she was indeed a witch. And as punishment for her crime, Grace spent 7 years in jail. After her release, the so called Witch of Pungo returned to her home and lived peacefully until her death around the age of 80. Interesting stuff. And yeah, that's kind of wild to me that's how we. So the Salem witch trials, for those who don't know, they were actually taking place in Danvers, Massachusetts. It wasn't Salem, and it's a very common misconception. But this is the only known recorded witch of Virginia, and I moved here recently, so I figured it's on a beer, the Witch of Pungo from Back Bay. Let's get a little bit of that action in. However, it's just so wild. You're a witch. And then their solution was to drown a woman, and either you drowned and that proves you're not a witch, in which case you're
Like,
dead,
oh no. Well, I
or
guess we messed up.
you
What was
come to
designed that
this.
way? Yeah.
Yeah, but like you either die, which proves you're not a witch, and okay, cool, I'm not a witch, but I'm also dead. But then you come to the surface, and now I'm gonna throw you in jail for 7 years. Like, what? I'm not really sure the logic there. It doesn't add up. I don't know what kind of
There
guy
is no
math that is,
logic.
but it doesn't make sense.
Kind of.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. The witches, the whole witch trials is a very interesting topic, as well as the lore behind devils or vampires and werewolves. So we'll definitely hit that in 2024. Crazy to think about. But this has been spooky season 2023. This is our third year of the podcast. Third year doing spooky stuff. We've been re-releasing episodes. We re-released Hocus Pocus that we talked about. We re-released our commentary on The Nightmare Before Christmas. We've done Alien. We've talked some Exorcist. So we've done a lot of cool stuff. Let us know what you want to hear. We're going into that lull between Halloween and Christmas. And you know, I wish this never ends. I wish this never ends. Anybody out there? No. And so, no, seriously though, let us know what you want to hear coming in November. We are coming up on episode 200, which will drop on Christmas. We have something planned. I think we're going to do a best comics of 2023 draft with some people. But in the meantime, come hang out with us, join our Discord. Like I said, we're going to start maybe a movie watch once a month. We'll see how that goes. And we're having a good time. So thanks for hanging out with us. Stay spooky, my friends. And we will see you next week. Cheers.